The ticking of the clock is a sound you rarely notice. It's a background murmur to the chaos of your thoughts, a patient whisper that reminds you of your passing minutes, your shrinking future. But today, it's deafening. In this moment, the tick-tock slices the air like a blade. You sit still, frozen in the suffocating embrace of your own mind, shackled to the idea that worrying is a necessary act of love, an act of responsibility. You feel your heart pounding as if it wants to escape your chest. Your thoughts flicker like a candle in the wind. What if this happens? What if that doesn't? What if? You've lived so long in this endless loop of dread that the idea of simply letting go, of releasing your white-knuckled grip on control, seems almost sacrilegious. But what if, just for a moment, you did? Michel de Montaigne, the philosopher who walked the line between skepticism and human frailty, believed that when you stop worrying, everything begins to fall into place. It's an idea that sounds almost laughably simple, but Montaigne's insight wasn't born from shallow optimism. It was born from the raw experience of confronting life's relentless uncertainties, an experience that turned the act of release into a profound art. Imagine Montaigne in his tower, surrounded by the chaos of plague and war, scribbling his thoughts in the quiet sanctuary of his library. He understood that no matter how hard you clench your fists around life's reins, the world will always remain untamed, unpredictable. And so he dared to suggest, why not unclench those fists? Why not allow life to surprise you rather than strangle it with your dread? To stop worrying doesn't mean to stop caring. It means to surrender the illusion that your anxious vigilance has ever been the force holding your world together. It means to stand on the edge of your fears and realize that they are, in truth, only phantoms, restless shadows you've mistaken for your own skin. But you know this already, don't you? You know it every time your shoulders ache from the tension, every time you lie awake at night with your mind buzzing like a nest of wasps. You've told yourself that if you worry enough, you'll be prepared for the worst. You've believed that worry is your shield, your sword. You've worn it like armor. Yet Montaigne would tell you that this armor is a prison, that the more you wrap yourself in it, the more you cut yourself off from the raw beauty of existence, the gentle murmur of the world as it hums beyond your anxious mind. The subtle tyranny of control. Worry is, at its core, a desperate attempt to control what is beyond your reach. It's a subtle tyranny, one that masquerades as caution or foresight. But in truth, worry is a false prophet, promising security where there is only a ceaseless tide of change. Look back on your life, all those moments you thought you couldn't survive, all those imagined catastrophes that never came to pass. And even when the worst did arrive, did your worry truly spare you the pain? Or did it only steal the light from the days that led up to it? Montaigne saw this in the way people lived, in the way they hollowed themselves out with fear of what might come tomorrow. He wrote, "My life has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened." There, in that simple line, lies the truth of your burden. The weight you carry is often nothing more than the ghost of your own invention. To live without worry, Montaigne believed, is to reclaim the present moment, to find in it a sanctuary of peace that is untouched by the churning chaos of your fears. It's to see that the worst you imagine is almost always worse than the reality itself. And even when the worst does arrive, you meet it with a calm that no amount of anxious rehearsal can prepare you for. The liberation of letting go. Consider for a moment what it would feel like to let go. not to abandon all responsibility, but to abandon the endless rehearsal of disaster, to stand at the edge of your worries and step back, to watch them swirl like autumn leaves and realize you are no longer their captive. Montaigne wasn't advocating for recklessness. He knew that life demands attention, that there are things that deserve our care and caution. But he also knew that beyond a certain point, worry ceases to be a tool and becomes a toxin. It seeps into every moment until you are no longer living, but only waiting for the crash, for the collapse, for the loss you've already endured in your mind 1,000 times over. He invites you to imagine a life where you trust the flow of events more than your anxious predictions. A life where you greet each day not with suspicion, but with curiosity. Where you allow for the possibility that things might, in fact, go well. That in the absence of your constant vigilance, life has a way of unfolding with a grace you never dared to expect. A test of faith. To stop worrying is to take a leap of faith. A faith not in blind luck, but in the resilience of your own spirit. Montaigne reminds us that you are far stronger than you realize, far more capable of weathering the storms than your fears allow you to believe. When you stop worrying, you open a door to the unexpected, both the joy and the sorrow. But in that openness, there is a richness of experience that no amount of anxious premeditation can replicate. It's a surrender, but it's also a triumph, the triumph of trusting that life, in all its unpredictable glory, is not your enemy. So let the clock tick. Let the moments pass. Release the need to script every second of your future. In the silence that follows, you might just hear the quiet music of life itself, the melody that has always been playing, waiting for you to stop worrying long enough to listen.